My name is Jamel. I'm the owner of From Concrete Training and Fitness. Today I'm gonna teach you guys how to goblet squat. So the squat is one of the 6 basic human movements that includes the squat, the hinge, push-up, pull-up, rows, and shoulder press. It doesn't matter whether you're an NFL player or whether you're somebody who's just getting started off in your fitness journey. The goblet squat is a beneficial exercise for anybody who's looking to grow their glutes and their quads. So to start off, we wanna put our feet at shoulder width apart and make sure our toes are pointed forward. Now, a lot of coaches will tell you to point your toes outwards really wide. I tell my clients to only point them slightly outward. We do want to make room to open up our hip, but we don't want our feet so out wide that now we've inhibited our ability to continue to sink. So we want our feet pointed parallel forward, and then we're just going to give them a little bit of slight turn out. From here, this is why I've got my shoes and socks off so you guys can see my feet. I'm going to grab the ground with my toes. So I'm pressing my big toe, my pinky toe, and my heel into the ground, creating what's known as called a tripod. From there, I want to screw my feet into the ground. So I'm creating tension in my glutes and my quads. So my quads are flexed right now and my glutes are flexed right now. And that's created my tension. From there, I'm gonna actually pull myself down into the ground. A lot of people think you just drop. We don't just drop. I wanna pull myself down into the ground. Let's go ahead and let's grab the weight and let's get into it. I've got my weight up here at my chest. I'm gonna tuck those elbows in nice and tight, and I'm gonna hold the kettlebell here by the horns. Again, my feet are screwed into the ground. I'm gonna start to sink my hips straight down, pushing the knees out over the toes until I reach as deep as I can go comfortably. I'm gonna sit down there, get a good stretch, and I'm gonna press up violently. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Hips are gonna go back, knees are gonna go forward. I'm gonna sink my hips straight down, sit down in there, nice and comfortable. I wanna have a nice big chest, and I wanna press up. All right, I'm gonna show you guys from the side. Same thing. So you guys can see, my first movement, my hips and my knees break. So I go from being locked in and screwed in, my hips and my knees are gonna break. I'm gonna sink my hips straight down, and I'm gonna press back up. One more time, hips and knees break, sink down, press back up. As you can see, when done appropriately, goblet squat is a great exercise for targeting the quads and the glute. Your squat's gonna look a little bit different depending on if you're a little bit taller or a little bit shorter. If you're a little bit shorter, or if you've got shorter limbs, you're gonna be able to sit more straight down than somebody who's got longer legs. If your legs are a little bit longer, to get to that same depth, you're gonna need to push your knees forward and sink the hips back a little bit farther. So your squat's gonna look a little bit different if you're a taller person. Now, if you lack the mobility to get down there, one thing you can do, probably seen a lot of people do in the gym, put a plate under your heels, all right? I prefer to train without the plate under my heels so that I force myself to get that mobility. But if you don't have the mobility starting out, you can always put a plate under your heels. That'll help you to sit and really engage. Biggest key takeaways with the goblet squat is I want to be engaged everywhere. A lot of people think a leg exercise, so I don't have to be engaged. When you do this right, your core should be engaged, your lower back should be engaged, your glutes should be engaged. I'm working my hamstrings on the way as I pull myself down towards the ground. My quads and glutes are obviously engaged. My calves are engaged, my feet are engaged, my arms are engaged, my upper back's locked in. I'm holding that kettlebell tight to my chest. I am literally engaged everywhere when I do a goblet squat, but primarily I'm working my quads and my glutes, but my entire body is rigid. That's something important why I love you starting with the goblet squat when I'm teaching somebody how to squat initially. This will help you when it comes to things like the back squat, the front squat. If you decide to go into Olympic lifts, learning how to keep that upper back nice and straight and keeping the core engaged will help you long term as you progress into the more intense versions of a squat.